The woman in Vamp was not just a nightclub vampire. She was an ancient Egyptian blood queen hiding behind neon lights. Most people remember Vamp as a wild 80s horror movie with strange makeup, loud music, and chaos in a strip club. But buried inside that chaos is something much older and far darker. Tonight we are uncovering who Katrina really was, where her power came from, who turned her, and why the events of this movie were never random. By the end of this video, Vamp will stop feeling like a cult comedy and start feeling like the last chapter of an ancient horror story. Let's clear this up first. Katrina is not a normal vampire. She does not behave like one. She does not hunt like one. And she definitely does not rule like one. From the moment she appears in Vamp, Katrina doesn't feel human. She doesn't flirt, she doesn't joke, she doesn't even seem hungry. She watches, she judges, and when she acts, it is final. That alone tells us something important. Katrina is not a turned victim trying to survive. She is authority. Long before America, long before nightclubs, Katrina was human. Her original name was Katrina. She lived in ancient Egypt around 1200 BCE during the late New Kingdom. She was not royalty, but she was powerful in a way that mattered even more. Katrina was a high-ranking temple priestess. Her role was blood ritual, punishment, and divine law. She oversaw sacrifices meant to cleanse corruption and remind people that mercy was not guaranteed. She believed order came from fear, and fear came from blood. This belief is important because it made her the perfect candidate for something far worse. Katrina was not bitten by a vampire in a dark alley. She was chosen. The entity responsible for her transformation was Sekhmet, the Egyptian goddess of war, plague, and bloodlust. Sekhmet was feared even by the gods. According to myth, she nearly wiped out humanity in a blood frenzy. She drank blood not for survival, but for punishment. Katrina served in a hidden cult devoted to Sekhmet's wrath. She did not worship love or balance. She worshipped destruction with purpose. The turning was not an accident. It was a ceremony. Katrina was killed during a blood rite, meant to bind Sekhmet's power into human flesh. She consumed consecrated blood mixed with sacred intoxicants. Her heart stopped. Her body was prepared. And then she rose again. This was not immortality as a gift. It was immortality as a sentence. Her existence was bound to secrecy, territory, and feeding. She could not roam freely. She could not live among humans. She had to rule from the shadows. Katrina died. Katrina was born. Katrina did not awaken alone. 2 temple acolytes were offered during her rebirth. They became her first assistants, her first enforcers, her first court. This 3-figure hierarchy mirrors ancient Egyptian divine structure, a queen, and 2 loyal extensions of her will. This system never changed, it only adapted. As empires fell and gods were forgotten, Katrina moved. She followed trade routes, ports, cities built on excess. Europe gave her centuries of cover, but eventually, belief systems shifted, churches replaced temples, and hiding became harder. America solved that problem. America offered something ancient monsters needed more than worship: anonymity. People disappeared every night. Sex, drugs, and excess were expected. No one asked questions if someone vanished after dark. Los Angeles became the perfect hunting ground. Not because it was violent, but because it didn't care. After Dark was not a strip club, it was a modern ritual site. The dancers were initiates. The music replaced chanting. Neon replaced firelight. Young women were targeted first. Those who survived were turned. Those who didn't fed the system. Later, any lone straggler would do. Gender didn't matter. Isolation did. Inside After Dark, Katrina was not entertainment. She was law. Katrina allowed humans to enter freely. That part is important. You were not dragged inside. You chose to walk in. Once inside, the rules were simple. Obey and survive. Question and die. Escape and be hunted. Most vampires inside the club were disposable. Only Katrina mattered. Ancient systems only survive in secrecy. The moment outsiders break the rules, the moment daylight approaches, the moment the system is exposed, the power begins to fail. Katrina intervenes personally because this is no longer feeding. This is collapse. Katrina does not die like a monster. She dies like a relic pulled into the present. Fire, light, exposure. Once her domain is broken, her power cannot hold. The queen falls. The court collapses. The temple burns. This is not a victory. It is an extinction. Vamp was never just a wild 80s horror movie. It was a story about ancient evil trying to survive modern excess. About gods hiding behind neon. About sacred violence wearing leather and lipstick. It shows what happens when old monsters are forced to adapt to a world that no longer fears them. A world where darkness isn't hidden in temples, but sold as entertainment. Katrina didn't fail because she was weak. She failed because the rules that protected her no longer existed. Because secrecy doesn't survive daylight. And ancient horrors cannot live once they are dragged into the open. Katrina was once a priestess, chosen by Sekhmet, reborn as a blood queen. She crossed centuries to escape the fall of gods and belief, built a modern temple out of neon and noise, and ruled until curiosity and exposure finally reached her throne. That is not a nightclub villain. That is an ancient god's last instrument, breaking in the modern world. If you want to see which other horror villains are hiding ancient origins, watch the next video on screen now.